Absolutely. Thanks very much for that, Stephen. In fact, let's continue with our SONA coverage this morning. And as you've just heard, many of the issues we will discuss for you now with some analysis from Lorenzo Davids, who is the CEO of the Development Impact Fund. Lorenzo, it's great to see you. Many of those issues will include socioeconomic issues, massive youth unemployment. We know we have a stagnant economy, the IMF putting us at 1% of a growth forecast. These are all issues that are not going to be fixed with pretty words this evening in the President's State of the Nation address. My colleague Stephen Curtis there making the point that we need to be doing a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, Michelle, to you and your viewers. The whole notion that we should continue to be a resilient country is now tired. It is lame. It should no longer be used. We have a government, and we have a government that should be delivering at a far greater pace than what we have been enduring the last 7 or 8 years. This cannot continue. The social infrastructure collapse is significant. Water, electricity, livelihoods, households, safety, all those things are busy collapsing. They are not improving. And unless we begin to affirm that for ourselves with the visuals, with the engagements, we will keep believing that we should be resilient. We should be stronger. We should cope with this. This is not something that we as a society should be coping with, because we have a very capable government with resources, with one of the largest government enterprises in terms of bodies and humans across the world. We should be doing a lot better than calling on our citizens at this stage to be resilient. The President must change tack urgently if he doesn't want to lose the confidence of this country.
Yeah, we heard the same comments from the electricity minister insofar as the Palmet power station is concerned, urging people to be patient. I think fair to say that the resilience and the patience are both resources that are running incredibly low across our country. Stephen Curtis made the point in that discussion with the ANC spokesperson that since 2019 we have become more violent. That was one of the issues he raised. More dangerous. We know 75 people a day are killed across the country here in South Africa. In fact, our murder rate is at a 20-year high. You know, where do we go from statistics like that, Lorenzo?
Yeah, it's just staggering. And what is sad about this is that the President, probably in his State of the Nation address tonight, will try and convince us that the ship is being steered correctly, capably, and in the right direction. The audience will be sitting there, 60 million of us, watching and saying, sir, that's not where we are going. We have a born-free generation who's coming into their third election now. And they are seeing that they are still living in the country that their parents told them they left in 1994. 2024 is the same experience that their parents had in 1993, that they abandoned, left to embrace freedom and dignity and respect and human rights. And that's not coming out. So when we call on our citizens to be strong and resilient and cope with these things, or that we must be patient, all of those words have died. They don't have currency anymore. The government can't call on those resources anymore. The citizens want to see a capable state delivering services on time and without excuses. And here's the big thing for me. It's this level of secrecy that bewilders me. When the ANC spokesperson says that, you know, they can't disclose, or they can't speak on behalf of the President, or they can't say this and that, I think the country has moved way beyond that kind of statement or rhetoric. The country now needs to say, hold on, we need to know. You can't say that anymore. You can't tell us you don't know, or you don't have permission to speak on that issue. The sense of crisis is vastly different in the presidency and in the ANC than what it is in the country. And that for me is the staggering awareness that we should be sitting with as we listen to the President speak tonight.
Right, absolutely. And we deserve those answers, don't we? Because ultimately we are paying your salary, Mr. President. And speaking of which, Lorenzo, more dangerous, more violent as our country has become, life has also become more expensive, more unaffordable, more difficult for the people who are living below the breadline.
Yeah. The number of households suffering from food insecurity has grown enormously. The price of a food basket has gone up. The cost of transport has gone up just because of the fluctuations in the fuel price and fuel costs. And so the brunt of all of this is being borne by the 33 million poor people, desperately poor people in this country. You're sitting with people that are now desperate, and my analysis of where we are at is that we are now beyond reassurance. We are approaching revolution. The president can't reassure the nation anymore. He has to deliver with absolute urgency to avoid a revolution. And I don't use those words lightly. But we have come from reassurance, resilience, reassurance, and speeches, and those words have no currency anymore. The president doesn't have the right to use those words anymore. We need something deliberate, intentional. You know, when he started out in 2018, he made a series of promises, which we know he hasn't kept. But there was a moment of inspiration. It was 1994 then, all over in 2018. And he doesn't have that currency left anymore to trade with his people, with the 60 million citizens in this country. We now need to see a series of deliverables. And quite frankly, Michelle, I don't think he can. The hunger, poverty, violence, as you speak of, those things, they've been unable to change any trajectory within those pathways. It's worse, it's drastic, and as I said, we've moved from reassurance and resilience, and we are now approaching revolution. And this phase is going to be very, very difficult for anybody who comes into government after May this year.
And of course, when you talk revolution, we think back to those 8 days in July of 2021. Lorenzo Davis, let me thank you for your time this morning. It's always great to get your analysis on the situation, and especially as we build up to the State of the Nation address, one hopes that people will keep in mind those important numbers that the President mentioned in his last SONA and just how far we've come.